Hey guys, so I'm sure all you mums and mums-to-be out there have at some stage faced that age-old question, breast or bottle, what did you do? And any sort of mums-to-be, maybe you're currently considering, your options or what you want to do. So I thought I would share my experience. I've already done a much longer vlog on this, which you can find on my channel, but this is kind of a slightly condensed version. And also in that last vlog I mentioned about the fact that there were certain things that really helped me in my breastfeeding journey. Some items, including this really sexy purple number, but I'll tell you more about that properly later. So yeah, I'll start off just basically telling you about my breastfeeding experience. When Sophia was born, I immediately tried to breastfeed or attempted to breastfeed, and at the beginning it seemed to kind of go okay, but after a few days I was realising that she was kind of taking from one boob but totally not going from the other one. I decided to go to some breastfeeding classes to try and help me establish breastfeeding on the left boob, which she just didn't seem to like, and also just generally to try and get breastfeeding right, because I wasn't sure if she was actually getting enough food and if I was doing it right. I did find it extremely painful, and I didn't find it easy, and I didn't feel like she could take to it that easily. So I live in Maidstone, and I heard about breastfeeding clinics that they run. There are various different ones. I went to one at the birth centre and also one at the Salvation Army. At the beginning it's a little bit weird because you walk in and everyone's just there with like their boobs out, and you're like, oh hi, nice to meet you, and here are the girls, hello. But I mean, obviously it's totally natural, but it was a little bit bizarre at the beginning. And you also, people are coming over that you've just met, and they're literally there pushing your boob and taking this like nipple and being like, right, try and get the whole nipple in their mouth and shove it in like that. And you're like, okay. So it can be a little bit bizarre in that way, but for me that really helped, because I managed then to establish feeding on both boobs, which was a relief. But despite the fact that even though I was getting the hang of it all, finally, I did find it extremely painful. Anyone who says, oh, it doesn't hurt, maybe for some people it doesn't hurt, but for a lot of people I know, and certainly for me, it bloomin' well hurts. So after 6 weeks I made the decision to introduce formula and introduce a bottle. The bottle made such a difference for me. It meant that my husband could help with feeding, gave me a break, and I kind of, to be honest, if it hadn't been for introducing a bottle, I probably would have given up completely breastfeeding, because I was at a point where I literally was like, oh, I just can't deal with this anymore. And introducing formula did kill me a little bit. You feel so guilty, because the way the media makes it out, or whoever else makes it out, or people make you feel, it's as if giving them formula, you're like giving them a bottle of whiskey or something. Do you know something? Do what works for you and what's right for your family. For me, combination feeding worked. It led me to continue to breastfeed, a combination, so I was bottle and breastfeeding until she was a year and 2 months old. I, in the end, loved breastfeeding. It was really convenient, really quick. I didn't have to sterilize a bottle or heat it up. It was just literally right there, on you go. Yeah, and I liked the bond it created with my daughter. But I don't think I would have had that if I hadn't also been able to use formula. So for me, combination feeding worked. There might be different things that work for other people, but that's what worked for me. One of the other things I found with breastfeeding was the whole issue of just sort of getting your boobs out. I know it's brilliant now that places are totally accepting of it, as they should be, but that doesn't mean that as a woman that you're suddenly just really comfortable with things that generally are hidden, just being like, hi, here they are. My first time publicly breastfeeding was when Sophia was about 2 weeks old, and I went into town. Bad idea, because we still hadn't really worked out how to breastfeed properly, so it wasn't working very well. She wasn't really taking. And the thing about breastfeeding, for those who haven't had kids yet or haven't breastfed yet, the milk just literally squirts out. It's like, and I went to this coffee shop. It was quite small, and Sophia needed to be fed. I was wearing a completely impractical dress, a completely impractical bra, and Sophia wouldn't take, and there was milk literally squirting everywhere. I wanted to die. I think I actually did end up in tears. It was awful, and because of that, I stopped going out for a while because I was just too embarrassed. So I found certain things that actually really helped me to get over my sort of problem with getting my boobs out and leaking boobs. I've got 3 items here that really helped me, so I thought I would share them with you. The first one, as I showed you earlier, is the sexy purple number, very trendy. It is a breastfeeding apron, and yeah, so you just put it on as I've done there, and it just hangs. You can kind of see it. Excuse my trousers, I'll just pull them up. So it just kind of hangs like that. But it's got this special bit at the front, which means you can stick the baby on, have the baby breastfeeding here, and you can see them through this. And it's brilliant because it just made me feel so much more comfortable. You can put it around a bit like that, you can have it like that, and I would just shove it in my bag. And I mean, the purple colour probably isn't the best. It was the only one I could find. This one is actually, it says there, it's Baby Olay is the make. And I think I actually got this in TK Maxx. It's the only place I could find one. They weren't that easy to find. But for anyone who's struggling with sort of dealing with the whole like getting boobs out in public or public breastfeeding, I would really recommend this. Then another thing I would recommend is a special breastfeeding bra. Another really sexy number. Yeah, breastfeeding attire is clearly, you know, so attractive. But what is, with this is, I'm not sure if you can see, but there's like a second like little strap bit here, and it comes apart so that then you can just literally flip it like that. And the third piece of sort of clothing, breastfeeding attire that really helped me, I'm wearing is a top by a company called Feed Me Mummy. And a friend of mine suggested this to me, and I'm really glad she did. It was brilliant. Basically, it's a vest top, but it lifts up like this. I've got another top underneath because obviously not going to get the boobs out, but generally it lifts up like that. So there's like an extra flap. So I've got two on, so this is the underneath one, but normally obviously you'd have your boobs there. So you just lift it up, you can then get your boobs out, and it's much easier to get the child on. So those are kind of all my sort of points on breastfeeding, my little tips and what I did. As I said before, I do think it should be a personal choice. For me, combination feeding really worked. There's this whole debate, breast or bottle. My perfect solution is do a bit of both. So that's what I would say. Maybe you have your own comments of how things worked for you, or things that maybe helped you with breastfeeding, or why you decided you didn't want to breastfeed at all, and your reasons for that. If you want to share any of them, please leave them all in the little comments section. I'd really appreciate that. And I will chat to you all soon. Bye.